Today, I have a brief one for you. It is describing SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom. Now, I'm not going to sit here and react to the whole game's cutscene sequence. This is more just for prosperity? Or maybe prosperity's not the right word here. But I did want to take a look anyway and just kind of get an idea of, just so you can get an idea of the kind of vibe that this game gives off. I grew up playing this game, or I should say I did play this game when I was a kid. So yeah, basically it starts off with Plankton, of course. It's basically like a SpongeBob episode, right? It's like Plankton comes along and he's working on his evil plan, as he usually does in an episode of SpongeBob. And this time he has his device that is gonna basically make a bunch of robots. It's called the Duplicatron 3000, as you'll see here. As you see, it's this giant machine that produces robots indefinitely. And while this is a describing video, this is also kind of a makes no sense kind of video, but we'll get to it. So as you can see here, he's hanging out on this machine. He has it set to don't obey, which is, of course there's a setting for that. Of course it's just set to that kind of carelessly by Plankton. And look how happy he is now that he's got his robots, but now they're all gonna attack him, and he's like, oh shit, oh fuck, I didn't leave it on the right thing. Oh no. So basically they don't kill Plankton for whatever reason, even though they could easily do so in like 2 seconds. They instead just throw him out, which is, fine, and they steal the factory for himself, and then you find out it just so happens that SpongeBob and Patrick are kind of chilling as we see them here. They vibing, and they're having their typical kind of back and forth, and they wish for robots. They wish that maybe they could see some robots, and they use this magical wishing shell, and they want to make their wish come true. And they basically go to bed, and the next morning it comes true. So, and then you see them wake up, and it's kind of this whole thing where there's robots running around, and there's a bunch of just kind of mess, chaos everywhere. And the robots have gone pretty much wild across all of Bikini Bottom, and that's essentially the premise for the entire game. I don't know who wrote that, but it was probably Gary or something. I don't know, because that's kind of the implication. So that's basically it. Now, the game doesn't really tell you that there are, or at least this opening cutscene, I should say, doesn't really tell you that there are many other things, like many other robots that the machine apparently made, or Plankton apparently made. Now I want to focus on, let's see, where is it here? Let's see. Go away, this part here where Plankton talks to SpongeBob immediately after, trying to spill the gun, Plankton, get away with it. I just want to look at this real quick because, how to get control of the chum bucket. See, he's trying to get the chum bucket back, right? So you're thinking, well, how would he do that? Well, maybe he just needs to help someone, bigger than him that can take out some of these robots. Well, plenty of other characters he could ask for help, even though he's kind of a dick and he's rude. He's Plankton, he's the villain, kind of-ish, sort of, and, yeah, so he was kicked out by them, and he wants to get back in, so he wants help, right? He's asking SpongeBob for help right here. Of course, SpongeBob says yes, and he says he's supposed to collect a whole lot of golden spatulas. If you can get me back into the golden spatula, like, where does this come from? It just comes out of nowhere. That's like that's the thing. It's like, where does the golden spatula concept even come from? It doesn't really make any sense at all. I mean, it's fine. I don't care. I'm not offended or something. It's just It's just like, why? Like, what behooves this story to have this element? I mean, it's a video game, so that's the answer to my question. Because of course it is. It's a video game. They need something for the player to collect. They wanted it to be a collectathon, so they were like, well, we have this premise, but we also want it to be a collectathon, not like a combat-driven game. So yeah, they just were like, I guess we'll just make golden spatulas. SpongeBob's a fry cook. Spatulas. So that somehow opens doors. You know, like, it just somehow opens doors. There's this whole sequence with a king jellyfish. It's pretty gnarly. He's kind of crazy. He wants to take a shower, and then it's all good. And then there's this whole thing. See, this is the part I was kind of mentioning earlier. Is there's these parts where once you collect enough golden spatulas, whatever correlation that actually has with this, there's this whole sequence where you fight these robot versions of the SpongeBob characters. There's a giant robot Sandy. There's a part where Patrick wants to jump in, fight. There's no gameplay of it, I don't think. But ultimately, there's that. There's a giant Sandy part, giant robot Sandy part. It's pretty fun. But I think what really takes the cake for me is probably the where is it here? Where is that? Where is that sequence? Here it is. The giant robot Patrick. I think that's probably the. Also, look at what SpongeBob does with his arms right there. What the fuck? Also, wow, Sandy looks absolutely fucking pissed in this cutscene. God damn. I recently played through this, by the way, the new rehydrated remake they made. So I'm kind of just like seeing the old cutscenes for first time in a long time right now. So that's why I'm kind of like, whoa. But anyways, yeah, so there's this whole thing. There's a giant robot Patrick. I guess that's story, you know, I guess. So it's a cool boss fight. There's a part where you go into SpongeBob's dreams, which is also like the other characters' dreams, and it kind of looks like this. Pretty weird, but it's okay. You know, it's okay. It's good to have weird shit in your game, I think. What's the final part, right? There's this part where they fight the Flying Dutchman, kind of, sort of. It's fine. It's okay. It's not really a story, though. It's not really a story. So not really worth describing. And then there's this sequence here at the end where it's like, okay, the end of the story. I mean, I guess I'm kind of spoiling the game, so at this point, never played it, and you're like, man, I really want that riveting Battle for Bikini Bottom narrative. Maybe click off the video now. But yeah, there's this whole sequence where they fight this giant robot SpongeBob because apparently they got enough golden spatulas to get into the chum bucket, which is apparently important. I don't know. That's what my hang up is what's the deal with the golden spatulas? Why are they so important? All I know is that they're everywhere in this game, and you have to collect them, and that's the video game. Though, I guess it's worth taking a quick look over here at the Game Boy Advance and Windows version. Apparently has a different story. I've never played it, so let's take a look. In the Windows game, SpongeBob and Patrick have a robot tea party with toy robots, and wishes upon the first falling clam that robots were people too. The next day, Bikini Bottom gets attacked by an army of robots. Patrick, Sandy, Gary, Squidward, and Mr. Krabs are captured by robots and locked inside cages. SpongeBob works his way through the Bikini Bottom, Flying Dutchman Graveyard, Kelp Forest, Chum Bucket, locate his friends, various objects stolen by the robots. Video is unlocked to the end of the game, where SpongeBob played the robot invasion, admits it was his fault, not the robots are listening the only way the robots. Obey mode instead. Patrick fools around with his machine, accidentally pulling the obey switch off, which turns on the machine, deprograms the robots. Look at that. Simple. I actually think that that's better, narratively speaking, than what we get in the home console versions, despite those probably being the much better games. Just like narratively, that's a little more like, okay, there's just levels, and there isn't like some arbitrary concept like golden spatulas. It's probably the silliest, nitpickiest little thing ever, but like it's just so random. And also, like, I guess the plot uses this whole magic wishing shell thing as kind of like a framing of like, so SpongeBob and Patrick feel compelled because it's their fault. Like, oh no, like our wish came true, but it's a bad thing. What does the golden spatula? I just don't get it. There's no explanation for golden spatulas that to search for. I just don't get it. I just don't understand it, and that's fine. But it is a description. I think I've provided a thorough description, or at least a good enough one, because there's really not much more to it. I mean, sure, we could get really specific and talk about all these individual cutscenes, but do we really need to? I don't think so. I don't really think so. Also, again, thank you for wishing to call for me using your footage. Let me know if you don't want me using your footage. Full credit if you want to watch the whole movie. If you think that this is a full movie, feel free to watch it. They got you covered. I think that's going to wrap it up for this little description of Battle for Bikini Bottom. It's actually a really fun game, despite my silly little nitpicks about its sort of non-existent story. It's a little bit of a story. It's a bit rude, maybe to say. But if you want to check out the video game, would recommend that new rehydrated version. Either Switch or PS4, Steam or whatever. It's a fun game. Check it out if you want. This is not an advertisement for the game. I just wanted to talk about it because I was thinking about it the other day. I had played through it recently, and I was like, what the fuck was the golden spatulas for? Like, what does that element come into the plot? And I wanted to take a quick deep dive just to see if there was anything that the wiki had to say, or the cutscenes, and just like remember all the dialogue. But nope, it just kind of comes out of nowhere. Just SpongeBob just kind of says, I need to find golden spatulas, and Plankton's like, okay, yeah, that works. Okay, yeah, I guess that'll get you into the chum bucket. You know, I guess that works fine. You know, that's fine. Yeah, just a whole lot of golden spatulas. I don't know. What's up with that? What's up with that? Anyways, that's it for this video. Have yourself a good day. Peace out.